Hello, so I am back with no burns on my face this time, just a few scars from the last ones. There were no pizzas or candles out to get me this time. So this video is all about energy in and energy out, so the energy balance equation. So basically it's talking about everything to do with calories in versus calories out. This is something that I don't think enough people realise the differences or the variables, I suppose, when it comes to calories in and calories out, and why it's not just as simple as I eat X amount of calories. My watch said I burnt X amount of calories, why am I not losing weight? There is so much more to it than that. So I'm going to start briefly by talking about energy in. Energy in comes from the food and the fluids that we consume. So any fluids that contain calories, so for example if it's alcohol or if it's tea, coffee, milk, anything that has calories in, there's a few reasons why it's not just as simple as something saying that it has X amount of calories. So first of all, labelling and packaging is a huge thing that varies from country to country, varies from manufacturing companies, procedures with making the food, how many people it has gone through. So labelling and packaging is different, and it can be some labels can be up to 25% out, but all we can do is track as best we can and be aware of that. And anyway, we should be eating as many foods that don't require packaging as possible. So all your whole foods, all your fruits, vegetables, your meats, things like that, things that don't require a label. That should be the bulk of our diet anyway. So that is one thing that affects the amount of calories that goes into our system. The second one then is, why can I not remember this? Macronutrient breakdown. So the macronutrient breakdown, I really should have written some notes. The macronutrient breakdown of a food will depend on how many calories, so the amount of calories from a food will depend on the macronutrient breakdown. So for example, if I have a meal with 500 calories from McDonald's and I have a meal with 500 calories from, you know, whole grains, rice, vegetables, meat, they will get absorbed differently in my body. So I will actually absorb more of the calories from the processed food than I would the whole nutritious plate of food, because our body has to break down that food. So it takes energy to break down the food, whereas processed foods like McDonald's and fast food, all that processing has been done already. That's just ready to be digested. So chewing food, so if you're eating raw vegetables, fruits, you have to chew the food. Then the actual digestion process, breaking it down, processing it, absorbing it, getting it stored, all of that takes up energy, which is calories in our system as well. So you will actually absorb less calories from the nutritious food than you would from the fast food. So that's another reason why obviously we should be aiming for, you know, 70-80% whole foods in our diet. So that's two reasons why calories in isn't just as simple as you thinking you're getting X amount of calories. There's nothing you can really do about that apart from obviously opt for more whole foods. The labelling one, there's not much you can do about it, just be consistent with your tracking if you are tracking. And then you have calories out. So we've spoken about calories in now. The reason why calories out is so complicated is because there's 4 different ways that we burn calories mainly in our body. If I asked you now, how do we burn calories? The most common response that I get is through exercise. Exercise is one of the smallest ways that we burn calories. So the most important one, or the one that burns the most calories per day in our body, is resting metabolic rate, or basal metabolic rate. So basal metabolic rate is when you're asleep, resting metabolic rate is when you're awake. Resting metabolic rate, or RMR, is around 10% higher than BMR, but more studies have been done on RMR, so we'll just stick with that. So RMR can be 60-70% of your total calories burnt per day. Not doing anything, just to keep your body functioning, just to keep your metabolism going. So all those systems in your body that need to keep going, just to keep your organs working, they burn 60-70% of your calories. So all your muscles need calories to work. All your organs, all your muscles, all your cells. So we forget that that's why we're eating food, is to keep our body functioning optimally, not just because we exercise for an hour, so now we need to refuel for that hour, or you ate a donut, so now you have to run for an hour to burn it off. It's not like that. So RMR is the first one, and that's 60 to 70% of the calories that you burn on a daily basis just to keep your body going. That will vary from person to person. No one person will be the same. Even if you are the exact same sex, height, weight, age as someone else, that will still be out maybe 15%. So you can't say, because so-and-so is eating this amount of calories and losing weight, I should be the same. Everyone is different. So it does come down to, you know, your age, your height, your weight, your sex, all those factors, genetics as well. So that is resting metabolic rate. Then we have thermic effect of food. Okay, so the thermic effect of food is basically the calories or the energy it takes to break down food, which we kind of spoke about in calories in. So I'm always banging on about protein and why it's so important. And especially when you're dieting, protein goes up the more you drop your calories. And there's a reason for that. Protein has a higher thermic effect. So compared to carbs and fat, which may be in the range of, say, between 3 to 5 to 10% of the foods that are high in carbs or fat will need 5 to 10% of the calories in that food to break it down. Whereas if you had, for example, 200 calories worth of high protein food, 25%, maybe even 35%, so let's say 25% of the calories from that food will get used up in breaking it down and metabolizing it. That's a quarter of the calories that's getting used up just by the process of eating it and digesting it and processing it. So that's why we try and get people to really increase their protein intake. It's not to get you big and bulky, it's not to get you muscles, it's for a completely different reason. It'll keep you fuller for longer, it has a higher thermic effect, and you need it for your lean muscle mass. So that's the second one, thermic effect of food. Protein is number one. Then third one, I'll speak about exercise first, but these are kind of intertwined. So exercise is, like I said, is the first one people think of when you think of calories out. Exercise is more than likely around 1 hour of your day. You can only burn so many calories in 1 hour. The type of exercise you do and the intensity that you do it at will determine how many calories you burn, and the person themselves. So obviously everyone is different. Men generally burn more calories than women, more so just because they naturally have more lean muscle mass on their bodies than women. So if I train for an hour and I burn 400 or 500 calories, great, but there's only so much that you can burn in an hour, and you can't have super high intensity exercise for an hour because it will no longer be super high intensity exercise. So exercise is such a small part of your day, and you can only burn so many calories from it, that you shouldn't be thinking of that as the sole way that we burn calories. From that, then you have NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and this is basically your moving my hands when I'm speaking. That's me burning calories just by moving, by not really specifically exercising, but, you know, walking to the car, cleaning your house, the person in the office that taps their foot, taking the stairs, all the things that people tell you to do. You know, park further away from the shop, take the stairs more than the escalator or the lift. These things make sense because on a daily basis, if you're awake for 16 hours, 1 hour is to exercise. Okay, we figured out you can burn X amount of calories in that hour, but there's a limit to that. Then you have 15 more hours in the day where you can move here and there, you know, get up, go get a glass of water. If you're at an office job all day, make sure that you get up every hour at least, just to kind of stretch your legs a little bit, just to move. Because if you're at a desk for 8 hours out of those other 15 hours of the day, that's 8 hours worth of NEAT that you are losing out on. So for a lot of people, they say that they stress really high stressful jobs, and then they stress by trying to get to the gym. So everything's stress upon stress upon stress, and exercise itself is stress. Whereas if you take out the stressful factor of getting to the gym itself and just increase your daily NEAT by just moving a little bit more and really being conscious of it, you will burn almost the same amount of calories, if not more, than that hour in the gym. And you need to think about it like that. So obviously everyone's different, everyone's goals are different. This is something you really should take into account. Even if you are trying to lose fat and you're putting it all into the gym, but you're not really moving the rest of the time, you should really think about your NEAT. As well as that, if you are killing yourself in the gym, or if you're PT and they are making you feel like you're going to vomit by the end of it and then you're done for the rest of the day, that's not good either, because that's making you move less for the rest of the day, which is then decreasing your NEAT, which is like, you know, you need to get that happy balance. So it's just so that you can think about these things from your own perspective, or what's your goal, right? What am I doing now? What could I improve on? Fitbits and trackers, this is where they come in really handy, because this makes people aware of how little they're moving. And especially here in the Middle East, it's so bad, the steps that people get on an average in a day, partly because of the weather and it's so hot, but also because everything's just so convenient. We don't have to move anymore to do anything, and then people get lazy. So you really have to remind yourself, I should be moving more, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. So this is my message to you now, to remind yourself of what you're doing. Figure out if there's something else that you could be adding to your schedule at the minute, if it's just a case of, you know, setting a little reminder every hour to get up and move around. These things add up, and this is how you will see progress easier. You know, you don't have to put in all this effort if you're not doing all these little things first. With that now, the reason why I kind of wanted to speak about this whole thing is because a lot of people want to see results fast. And obviously they know that they have to reduce their calories if they want to lose weight. But if you have someone that's really training very hard 5-6 times a week, and their calories are low, no, dieting calories, that's fine, but then they want to drop them very low, whether it's a holiday coming up or whatever, they're asking for trouble. So basically what happens when you drastically drop your calories but you keep your activity quite high, your body down regulates. You don't damage your metabolism, or you don't slow down your metabolism as such. All those systems that I mentioned of how we burn energy or how we burn calories, they will simply react to what you're doing, down regulate and protect the systems. So if you used to burn 500 calories from a gym session, you know, whether it was weights with cardio at the end or whatever, you will now burn less than 500 if you drastically drop your calories, because your body realizes that it's not getting that energy that it was getting, so it needs to do something about it. So the calories that you would have burnt through your RMR, your NEAT, your exercise session and your thermic effect of food, they will all start to decrease. So whereas you might have been burning 2,000 calories a day from just all those processes, you keep your exercise the same but you drastically drop your calories, they might drop as well, the amount of calories you burn. So you're now taking in less but you're also burning less. I know I'd prefer to be taking in more and burning more rather than doing the opposite. So that is also something to think about, especially now coming into summer when everyone's kind of, you know, bikini body and summer body, trying to get their bodies in shape for summer or their holidays or whatever. So it's just something I want you to be aware of, and it's something that you really should think about when you are planning your diet or, you know, focusing on your training and your food. Be smart about it. Figure out your calories. I'll help you do that, or I'm sure if you have someone else that can help you do that, you can do it online. You have to find out your BMR first, multiply that by a number that gives you your activity levels. So depending on your activity levels, you'll multiply your BMR by like 1.2 minimum if you're very sedentary, or 1.3, and it'll increase like that. That will give you an estimate of your maintenance calories. From your estimated maintenance calories, try to drop no more than 20%. You don't want to drop too fast, too low too fast, because you'll start to lose muscle as well as fat, and that's not what you want. And as well as that, all those systems will down regulate like we mentioned. So something to keep in mind, if you need help calculating your calories, by all means ask someone, ask for help. I can help as well. And there's something else I was going to say. A goal of what you should be losing per week in fat is between 0.5% and 1% of your weight. Obviously 1% is a little bit more aggressive drop, so that might be when you drop 20% of your calories, or else 0.5% of your weight if you just drop maybe by 10%. So hopefully that all made sense and you get something from it. A very rushed video today, but I felt like I just needed to get this out there. It's not planned or anything, it's just from experience with clients and hearing people talk in this time of year. So yeah, done. If you have any requests for videos or topics, please do let me know. Otherwise, I will try my best to get another video updated in the next week or two. Bye.